Find out why Mr. Roboto was a blessing and a curse for multi-platinum band STYX, as well as the story behind this iconic song and video, and our exclusive interview with former STYX singer Dennis Deyoung, next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Subscribe below so that you're always in the know about the videos and the interviews that we're going to release every single day. If you're a true music junkie, make sure to pick up a Professor of Rock hoodie like the one I'm wearing down below in merch. Now, STYX was one of the biggest bands in music from the late 70s into the 80s with massive songs like Lady and Come Sail Away, Renegade, Babe, Best of Times, Too Much Time on My Hands, and more. But by 1984, they were done until the 90s. I think it was the experience of creating their 1983 rock opera Kilroy Was Here that did them in. With the pop culture phenomenon Mr. Roboto, STYX broke through to a younger audience. And the song had a healthy experimentation with synthesizers, some call it even synth pop, and a weird yet fascinating concept that really divided their longtime audience. After the trying album session and a tour, Tommy Shaw quit the band and he released a solo album. Dennis Deyoung would do the same. And in 1990, STYX would reunite, bringing in Glenn Burtnick as the new guitarist, as Tommy Shaw was part of the supergroup Damn Yankees at that time. Several years after the band reunited with Tommy Shaw to re-record Lady for their greatest hits album. Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling. And then they would release a new album, Brave New World, in 1999. Tension ran high again as styles clashed, and Dennis Deyoung and STYX would part ways from there. STYX would not really play a full version of Mr. Roboto for a very long time. They avoided the song. A few years ago in an interview, Tommy Shaw said, and I quote, I'd really like to play Mr. Roboto, but there's just so much baggage that we had to go through when we made that record. It ultimately led to the band breaking up, but I actually like that song. I just didn't like the experience of making that album. End of quote. Dennis Deyoung has said in past interviews that he felt that the band hurt their legacy by distancing itself from the song, and he's probably right. It was, after all, one of STYX's biggest hits and a pop culture phenomenon. I had the opportunity to do a Zoom interview with the grand spectacle himself, Mr. Dennis Deyoung, about creating Mr. Roboto and the concept behind the music video and its deep impact on pop culture. And we're going to do that right now. But before we go into this fascinating interview, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. In my opinion, they are the best glasses on the market. They're cost-effective, they're stylish. This is a new pair that just came in the mail for me. I designed it myself. Go check them out, the link below. The great thing about these glasses, you don't ever have to, worry if you lose them or if they break, you just buy another pair. Here he is, Mr. Dennis Deyoung on Mr. Roboto. Mr. Roboto, from the 1983 STYX album Kilroy Was Here. I bought it the day it came out. This was when I had my own money, was buying my own music, and I remember how great that felt. And that's what this generation's missing out on a little bit. How great that feels to take your own money that you earned, put it down, buy that album, take it home, open it up, put the record on, and really just every song from that and try to figure out and make up urban legends about, wow, this is what Dennis meant here. So great. Tell me about that, about story of a human robot hybrid who is called upon to save the world. And tell me about composing that and kind of with the overall album.
In 81, Paradise Theater Tour and record, we had been accused of backward satanic messaging on a song called Snowblind by these two mooks from, I think, Iowa, although it might have been Nebraska.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, so they were running records. And I thought, oh, how original. So I had done a couple TV shows, Nightline, and there was the other one, Phil Donahue, about censorship. And, well, so we go to Japan. It was our first trip to Japan. And I realized that in 1981, when we were there, 82, that the Japanese they were ruling the world, baby. They were the Chinese of 1982 with their technology and their electronics. And so I also realized that the Japanese people are just beautifully polite, hardworking, industrious. And they said "domo arigato" all the time, which is essentially "thank you very much." So, and then while I was there, somebody said the name for robot in Japanese is Roboto. That's how they say it. So I thought "domo arigato." Anyway, so I come home, and I wanted to get us STYX on film, because I thought that's how you make the next step. No TV yet. Hadn't been invented. I said, film. Tommy, The Who. Come to me now. Beatles. See the world spinning round. Pink Floyd. We don't need no education. Stones. Get on film. So I come up with this story where America falls on hard times, terrible economic hard times in the future. Should have thought of a pandemic, but it never dawned on me. Anyway, and Americans are looking for answers, like all people will, and they'd like a scapegoat. You know, the other. How did this happen? Well, he's part Johnny Carson and part evangelical. He has his own cable network. He's on nightly. He's very popular. And he begins his campaign by identifying the other in rock music. He said that began the decline of American culture. So he's very influential. He gets rock and roll music banned. And this guy Kilroy, who's in a band called Kilroy. I'm not a robot without emotions. I'm not what you see. Decides to challenge the law, the first one. They're not the biggest band. They're just a band. And so they challenge the law. I've got the secret I've been hiding. And the night it happens, Dr. Everett Righteous, which is this character's name, has a group of bodyguards called like Nazi stormtroopers a little bit, you know, the armbands and the red and the black, and their group's called the Majority for Musical Morality. This was written in 1982. They make sure that one of the protesters to the concert is killed, so they can frame Kilroy for murder. So they accomplish it. They send Kilroy to prison, where rock stars are now being incarcerated, and the prison is guarded by Japanese robots called Mr. Robotos. That's essentially the premise. And this young kid named Jonathan Chance comes along, and he wants to bring back rock and roll. And, you know, it's as the hero, like, oh, here's the guitar, I pass it to you. Anyway, I needed a song that there was going to be a 12-minute movie. Did you ever see the show? You were probably too young to see the show. The concert starts with a 12-minute movie by Brian Gibson, may he lay in peace. Stephen Goldblatt, Oscar-winning cinematographer, shot it. This is before he was Stephen Goldblatt, and tells the backstory. Now, what I need is a song that's going to go from the end of the story to live action on the stage, where the concert and the story will continue. Mr. Roboto, thank you very much, oh, Mr. Roboto. I write Mr. Roboto, not as a single, not as a hit record, just explaining the premise so you can go from the movie to act one, scene one on the stage. I write it. We all do it together. We love it. Everybody in the band, we're all together. Tommy brings the vocoder in. Not me, that's him, right? And we're having a ball doing it because we're going to do something we've never done before. This is different. You're wondering who I am. Secret, secret, I got a secret. So we do it. And time for a single. And people said, man, Mr. Roboto, that's a hit record. It's so catchy. It's so blah, 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 blah. I said, What are you talking about? See, I don't know nothing. Remember I said nobody knows nothing? That is not a hit single. I said, you tell me at the end when I'm yelling, I'm Kilroy.
I'm Kilroy! Kilroy! Kilroy!
What? Why did he do that? How does that make any sense? So people kept up, and I said, no, it's record company. That's pretty catchy.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo.
It's either that or Don't Let It End.
Don't let it end. Baby, we could have some.
I contend if we'd have released Don't Let It End first, there would have been almost no controversy about the Kilroy project, because STYX fans would have heard Don't Let It End, liked you, and got what you wanted, right? Oh, there's Dennis singing a love song. Okay, great. But we took the chance.
Hey, I loved it.
Of course you did. How old were you in 1988? Tell me, how old were you?
I was 7 years old. Star Wars and all the things that I was into, this was like perfect.
I wrote it with you in mind. I didn't. But anyway, I thought I was, like Dr. Seuss. Ooh, he's thinking the big thinks. No, there were 7-year-olds going, Domo arigato, Mr. That's what it ended up being, and the whole concept went out the window. That's the story of how Mr. Roboto was conceived, and, the technology bit. See, the most important line in Mr. Roboto above everything. The problem's plain to see, too much technology, machines to save our lives, machines to humanize.
Machines dehumanize.
That was the central point of the story, because the story was about censorship, technology, and how they're going to come together. So there it is. I come home from Japan. This is the catalyst now. And I see a PBS documentary about factories and technology, 1982. And there's this giant kind of warehouse, and all the machines are, there's no people. One guy's in there. He gets ready. He walks out to leave the building, and he reaches back in and turns all the lights off in the room. And what do you hear? Machines keep working. And I looked at that and I went, oh my God, yeah, that's what can happen with technology. Humans, everyone needs them. They get gas, they get acid reflux, they drink too much, don't need them. And so I put all those ideas together primarily because all the people who worked in those factories were the people I loved and grew up with. So my comment on technology was not about where it's gotten, although I thought working this lead, like today, you think I foresaw this? If I did, I'd have a lot of stock in Microsoft. So I just thought, well, this is going to kill jobs for people I love. And that's how it came about.
I always thought it was brilliant. I still do. I think it was a bit prophetic in the time that we're living in right this second. A year later, Terminator came out.
In the 21st century, a weapon will be invented like no other.
And some of this other stuff in pop culture came out, cyborgs and all this type of thing. Artistically, I think very interesting concept. Bold move to release as a single, like you said. The world was riveted by it. Went to number 3 on the charts. And I always wanted to say, though, that wanted to translate as a kid when I was hearing that, what did it translate into English? And so I remember going to school and asking a teacher, hey, what does this mean?
Yeah.
I distinctly remember that.
Yeah, let's face it. I had a hit record, wrote a hit record that has some Japanese in it.
That's exactly right.
I did. Hey, look.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. Until the day we meet again, thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. I want to know your secret.
And this new guy, Sam Ishmael, who did Mr. Robot.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You know that TV show? Oh, my God. In the final analysis, you go look at Mr. Roboto, the video. Everybody says, hey, this guy, did he write a whole series based on that song? I know he didn't. But the similarities are, they're remarkable. And I love the show. And I was honored that they used it in the final episode. I went, oh, my God, that's incredible.
Mr. Roboto.
But look, nobody knows nothing. If up to me, that'd have never been a single.
Well, and you wrote a line that you didn't even know at the time or aware that would become, like Frankie said, relax. It would become a lexicon, part of the lexicon of the 80s. Still, when people...
Still today, here's how I know how important it was. If I talk to young people, hey, this guy, he's this old guy. He was a rock star. And they said, what band? STYX. Yeah. What? And they said, what were some of your songs? I'm not going to say Come Sail Away. I'm not going to say Renegade. You know what song I'm going to say? I can say those songs and they'll go, I don't know those songs. If I go, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto, they know. There's the test. Is it my favorite STYX song? No. But
well, I mean, you talk about a song, we talk about pop culture, we've talked about how your song's been used in pop culture. I mean, this one, Futurama,
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Simpsons,
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
You can do it, Otto.
8 Crazy Nights,
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo.
Austin Powers Gold member,
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Dodgeball,
Lobo Jim says Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, and freezes into the semi...
Arrested Development,
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
the VW commercial, oh my God. And you know who that is in the VW commercial that's doing the robot?
oh yeah, Tony Hill.
You were great in the commercial and you're great on TV.
Well, the other thing, too, I want to point out before we move on is that Stan Winston, who become well-known many years later, Jurassic Park and Forrest Gump, and he designed, as I understand, the Roboto costume and mask, which are displayed on the cover. And that was early on in his career, but he became a bit of a legend in the things that he did in movies.
Oh, yeah. Stan, genius, just the most wonderful human being. He died tragically much too early. His wife is lovely. But all that, there's a guy named Irving Azoff, you've probably heard of him. None of that would have ever taken place if he wasn't spearheading that project because, when Irving picks up the phone, people pick up the other end. So all those wonderful people. So Irving, nice with you from Danville, Illinois, which is where he's from. He opened all those wonderful people, Stan, Stephen Goldblatt, Brian Gibson.
Also, Suzanne thought it should be a single as well.
She said, that's a hit record. If I'm wrong, you have to buy me a 3-carat diamond ring. This is a true story.
Really?
Yes. Do you think she has one? She does. But she said, yeah, but I had to wait 20 years to get it, you cheapskate. Anyway.
Well, the music video, before we move on, I just want to point that out because that music video was one of those from MTV that blew me and my friends away and other people from Generation X that were growing up on a steady diet of MTV. That was one of those main videos.
Did it scare you? People said.
And yeah, for sure.
You know what? It's only after all these years that I meet people like yourself that tell me that. And I read it on something, I read on comments that, yeah, when that video came out, it scared me. And I thought, wow. I guess because it is, what the hell's going on here? And here I am, they got me pinned down with all these things on me. The robots are stealing my soul. But, here's something that people don't understand. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I walk into the Pantages Theater. No, it wasn't the Pantages. The Wilton Theater. They were rehabbing it, gutting it. It's in LA. And we brought our whole thing in there. We're going to, set up shop. I walk in, first day of the shoot, the video. And I walk in and I go, oh my God, I'm so early here because all the park cans are on the floor. Park cans are, and they're shining. They're not on trusses. They're on the floor, shooting up. I have never seen anybody ever in rock and roll do that, where the where the lights were on the floor instead of up on a truss. So I walked in, I said to Brian, he said, how far behind are we? And he said, we're not. I said, well, the lights, when are they going up? That's what he's going to do it, because the world is upside down. Everybody does it now. Up lighting, and that's Stephen Goldblatt. Now, Stephen came from lighting movies, and he's a genius. He just did that. And I went, wow. So when I watched the video, I always think to myself, and Kenny Ortega, world-class choreographer, he did the robot stuff.
Secret, I've got a secret with parts made in Japan.
So look, a lot of really very talented people came together to make that what that is. And that video, remember, it was before MTV. We didn't know there was going to be an MTV. So, you know, I think it stood the test of time. So there it is, you know, and I think one misstep. Lavender jumpsuits? What the?
I'm just a man who needed someone and someone to hide.
I remember walking in and seeing lavender jumpsuits, and I went, really? It's lavender. Ooh, the rock star. Lavender?
Yeah.
Even Prince knew to make it purple.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr.
By the way, Tommy Shaw and STYX finally brought Mr. Roboto back into the live show. Now go check out more content and exclusives at our Patreon link. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Leave us a comment about Dennis Deyoung and this song. Do you remember when this came out? What did you think of the album? To hear it, click on the link below to get Dennis's new album on vinyl or CD and other classic STYX music. Beyond that, click on our Amazon links below. If you like our content, we do invite you to subscribe to be a part of this community, very passionate. To support our mission of curating this history, to be a producer, check us out again on Patreon. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Stay safe.